but I do get they do ask a lot. A lot of people ask me, like, why did he do it? What is the motive? Motive is unknown to this day. The detective, police reports, it still just says motive unknown.
Hey, Inland Empire Gun Owners, that's another fantastic group. And you can join all of them. You don't have to just stick with one. I mean, $10, come on, how bad could it be? Right. Inland Empire Gun Owners strives to be the ounce of prevention in the fight for your gun rights. How do they do it? They do it by fundraising and getting local pro-gun candidates elected. Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment rights. That's iegunowners.com/join.
All right. Yeah, I got somebody actually started following after we talked about this.
About what? Watches?
Yeah, my watching. Somebody actually heard us on the radio.
Funny thing. We have a listener. We have a listener.
All right, subscribe and win. Winners, prizes, and events. Winning. Subscribe and win. Subscribe to our email list and win some swag. This week's winner is
Tyler Stark.
Tyler Stark.
How come I've never won?
Are you subscribed?
Of course.
Well,
I got an applause.
Tyler beat you out. Tyler, congratulations. You're going to win some cool swag, Gun Owners Radio. You're going to want to email prizes@gunownersradio.com to claim your T-shirt or your Gun Owners Radio hat. Free training for members announced on the 9th. CCW Next Steps with CCW USA. You're going to learn about other things you need to know about the CCW lifestyle after you get your permit with Joe Dramisi. He's teaching this class. It's actually excellent curriculum. I've been through the class, and it's it's kind of we have a ton of training in San Diego. We're blessed this way. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it's a lot of the same classes that other people. So it's a little bit different look, but it's basically the same level or same curriculum. So, you get some basics. You take the class you have to take to get your CCW, and then there's not a whole lot after that. There's some pretty advanced stuff. This is really an interesting class for someone who just got their CCW, or maybe they've only had their CCW. Well, most of us have only had our CCW for five years or so. This is you're good at marksmanship. You've been carrying for a year or two or whatever. This is things you need to know to be a concealed carry person, not just marksmanship. I think, and we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. We spend way too much. Mm-hmm. We spend too high a percentage of our training time on marksmanship. And
I don't know that if it's too high. I think just not enough of the other stuff.
Well,
I like all the marksmanship stuff.
I like it too. That's why I was trying to. I didn't want to say we spend too much time. Well, that's why I didn't say too much time. So I said too much percentage. I think our percentage of our free time is not high enough in training, and the percentage of the time that we spend training is not high enough in non-marksmanship.
I think you should move on. Next topic.
I'm going to produce my own 200-page report.
I think you should.
All right. Anyway, the point is, go to gunownersradio.com and subscribe to our email list, and you might win this really cool class.
And Ken, if you want a shirt, go to that website and get a shirt.
Yeah. Who?
One of our listeners. He keeps beating me up for a shirt.
Oh, come on, Ken.
Come on, Ken.
Yeah, you can do it. All right. So we're doing a curtain call, right?
We have one. We do.
Fire away.
Hold on.
Brandon has something special.
The latest news stories. Insightful perspectives. It's time for Curtain Call.
That was awesome. Brendan, that was awesome, man.
He's so good. He is so good.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Brendan. That was cute.
That's it. All right, let's move on to the next.
All right, next. All right. So we do. We have it's a real. Oh my gosh. It's there's so much. So let me start. We have an on the phone guest, Raul. Raul, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. So Raul, just to kind of lead into it, Raul, I'm going to give you all the glory to tell your story, but just a really quick by way of intro. So we had a real life defensive use of a firearm that Raul was involved in, and the defensive use of his firearm is what helped to save not only his life, but the lives of those around him at a party. And ironically, the date, the date of today, is ironic, and I'm glad that we have you here on the air, Raul. So, Raul, just really quick intro. You were concealed carrying that day, and so that we know you're a carrier. Can you just tell me a little bit about yourself and your history of firearms? Like, how did it start? When did you train? How young were you when you first started?
Yeah, actually, I was born and raised in California, and I was introduced to firearms at a very young age, probably about 6 years old, when I first shot my first firearm. My dad, pretty much being a big enthusiast, and that's when he introduced me. And of course, along with that comes like the firearm safety and everything. So I remember as a kid just shooting my first firearm and just watching my dad and my uncles. And after that, like I was just hooked. I wanted to know everything about it. I just wanted to be around them. And so that's, when my dad kind of stepped in and just always just gun safety. And, I really appreciate that because that's fundamentally the most important part. That's where, firearms get the bad reputation, But with that being said, I was probably like 19, 20 when I decided to leave the state of California. Went to Arizona, and that's where I've been for the last 14, 15 years. Married. I have 3 daughters. I had 2 daughters at the time of the incident. My wife was 7 months pregnant when this whole mass shooting incident happened. But thankfully, I survived. My family survived, and I was able to meet, my newborn child. And, with that, I've never had professional training. It's always been just huge enthusiast, just asking questions, from like my older sibling, my older brother, my dad, but nothing ever, formally, like going to a training class or anything. I did not serve in the military. I've never been law enforcement. So
you're just a regular guy.
Just your average dad, husband, average Joe with no, military, law enforcement background. Just, at the end of the day, just a good guy with a gun.
I love it. Perfect. So let's set the stage a little bit. So the date was July 3rd of 2022.
July 3rd, correct.
So, so you were at a party with your family. So it was you and your wife and your children and friends. And it sounds like there were some other children there as well.
Yes.
And so tell me, tell me, there's an article. In the article, there's some information given, but I want to hear firsthand from you. What did you see? What did you hear? Kind of how did the circumstances unfold?
Well, yeah, everything unfolded in the kitchen. The crazy thing got up from his bar stool. So the thing is, neighbor, we were outside lighting fireworks. He came, introduced himself, and made small talk. And eventually, a while later when we made our way inside the house, he made himself, he pretty much followed or went in after. And, the homeowner or the host, being a good neighbor, friendly neighbor, he, okay, I met you outside. Would you like something to eat, something to drink? So that's where, he sat down at the kitchen island and they served him a plate of food, and pretty much what it all started. In the middle of eating, he just kind of got up from his bar stool, pulled out a semi-automatic pistol, and just started opening fire. First victim, he just was literally right in front of him on the other side of the kitchen island. He fired 2 rounds. He died instantly. One of the rounds just pretty much hit him dead center in the neck, and he just bled out right there and hit the ground. As soon as I hear that first gunshot, I'm probably about 10 feet away in the dining area. My back is facing the shooter and everybody in the kitchen. But as soon as I heard those gunshots, I turned. And as soon as I turned, I was the next victim. He caught me in the side of the head and, pretty much went by my right earlobe and just went through my whole face and came out my left eye. I think it was at the perfect angle because it didn't hit my brain. It didn't hit any major, nothing. It just fractured, my jaw, my nose, my eye socket, and took out my left eye. And luckily, it missed any nerve or anything important to my right eye. So I still kept that vision. I still have that vision, thankfully. But that's when my wife, she hit the ground because she's literally sitting right next to the shooter. And as soon as he kind of makes his way towards the kitchen or the living room to continue fire at everybody there, my wife, runs to me, tries to get me up. She grabs my face and turns my head towards her. That's where she sees, I'm bleeding, blood covered. My whole face is just covered in blood. And that's where she just decides or, says, you know what? I can't get him up. My husband is dead. Now I got, two beautiful girls I need to go worry about. And that's where, she actually runs, kids were. And that's where she barricades the door and, hides a total of 5 kids in the closet.
Hey, Raul, hold on a sec.
Raul,
yeah, no worries.
This is a great point. Can we pause here, take a quick break, and have you back on the next segment? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Hey, is there a better tool that empowers a woman to defend against an attack? Wait a minute. An attacker that's 100 pounds bigger?
Nope.
Thank you. That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented for women, led by women. The Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. And guess what? It's free. All right, ready.
Thank you, Brandon. All right. So we have Raul. Are you still there with us?
I'm still here.
Fantastic. Let's pick up where we left off. So you stated that, and by the way, I'd just like to take a moment and acknowledge I couldn't imagine what your wife was feeling, seeing what she saw and having to make that decision. That she couldn't, she had to make a decision. And,
right.
And as a parent, that's, I commend her. That's tough. So she went to the room where you stayed. There were children and I'd like to go ahead and have you pick up from there, please.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, yes. She did something really courageous. She had the option of running out the door. A lot of people did, unfortunately. But she decided, to go run to the bedroom. She found my 2 daughters, 3 other kids, and she put them in the closet, threw clothes on top of them, and barricaded the door with the dresser, and just told them to be quiet, no matter what. So as she's waiting there for the shooter to break down the door and possibly, murder her and hopefully not find the children, she just waits there. Could only imagine the worst is running through her mind. But as this is happening, the shooter, he's running towards the living room where everybody's trying to run out the door. He just starts opening fire at everybody, just, running out the front door. That's where, others were wounded, shot in the back, shot in the arm, and actually one of them was shot in the leg. And, he unfortunately couldn't make it out the door. That's where he actually just walks up to him, and as this friend is, begging for his life, asking him, why is he doing this? I'm married, I got kids. He didn't care. He just, raises his pistol back up and just murders him, just shoots him in the top of the head and executes him. So as everybody else ran out the door, he makes his way towards the master bedroom. You have 3 women in there and the 2 children. Yeah, 3 women and 2 children hiding in there. So, he shoots down the door, breaks it down, goes through, and that's where the homeowner, the female homeowner, she decides to, mama bear kicks in and just decides it's either fight him off or just we all die here. So she decides to try to fight him off. She grabs his arm, tries to take away his pistol, and she's actually able to make him empty out his magazine. So as he's trying to, they're wrestling, she's pointing the gun away from her, and, all the remaining bullets are shot. Meanwhile, that's happening, though, she does get shot, unfortunately. She got shot about 3 times in the arm, once in the leg. But crazy how, she was still courageous, still was able to gather the strength to just say, hey, I'm going to fight him. So she is able to do that. And when I got out of the hospital, she actually had mentioned that she was yelling out my name. She was yelling out my name because she knew I concealed, a firearm religiously. So she knew that about me. Mm-hmm. So she told me, she's like, I was yelling out your name, Raul, help. But little did she know I was already shot in the head and most likely dead. Well, one of the girls that was in the master bedroom with her, she actually finds an AR. She finds a rifle, couldn't load it, no training, but she at least does the next best thing, and she grabs it and runs out, and she starts striking the gunman, with the rifle. Starts striking them, and, they're all fighting and wrestling, and honestly, by God's glory, this is the point where, my eyes open. I'm in the, dining room area, and I'm hearing screams. I'm, just hearing this battle. And that's where I had to decide what I'm going to do. I just got shot in the head. My chances of living are, poor to none. And it's either I could run outside and hopefully get medical attention and possibly survive, or continue to risk my life and, go towards those screams. And I did what any, loving father, loving husband, loving friend would do. And I ran towards those screams. I pulled out my 45 and I just made my way towards that room. And as soon as I saw him, I just laid 4 shots on him, killing him instantly. So the threat just ended right then and there.
That's amazing. I'm just curious. So your eyes opened. Were you aware? Were you sitting there thinking to myself, my God, I just got shot. I'm barely alive. How conscious of your situation were you? Or was it pure adrenaline? Or talk a little bit about that.
It honestly was, it's such a blur. It felt like a dream, but it was adrenaline, and I don't feel it was myself. I know I'm willing to always put my life on the line for my family, and that's without a doubt. I don't even have to think twice about it. But I just feel like something just gave you the strength. Like, I just can't explain it. Like, I can't sit here and tell you this is exactly. I just cannot explain it. Something, I'm bleeding out. I should still be laid out on the floor, but something got me up. So if that's what you want to call adrenaline, or if you want to say that's, God. And honestly, I'm thinking it's a combination of both. But honestly, I'm a Christian, and I do believe, in God. I do believe, he was there with me that night, and he wasn't ready to let me go. And this evil's everywhere. Evil's there. There's nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do is just have our faith in God and go the extra mile and be prepared. That's where,
how have you changed as a person? Like, what has gone on inside you that has changed, since this happened? Is the grass greener? Is the water wetter? You know what I mean? Like, what has this done to you as a person?
You learn to appreciate every day. You learn to appreciate the things that matter most. We all get busy in our daily lives, and we neglect the things that should matter the most, because you feel, I'm going to be here tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it this weekend. I have 3 daughters now, and it's kind of like, hey, let's do this, Daddy. And it's just kind of like, oh, we'll wait until Saturday. I'm tired. Like, no, like certain things cannot wait. It's like tomorrow's not promised. 10 minutes from now is not promised. So you learn to appreciate just opening your eyes every morning, just seeing, my kids, those things, you just learn that nothing else matters in this world. But, my family, my kids' smiles and their well-being, and just all of us waking up in the morning.
How are your kids? How are your kids and your wife after all this?
I would say like anybody else would be after an incident like this. They're scarred. We're all scarred. But, we're going to get through it as a family. We talk about it, and we know what's out there, the evil that's out there, and now we got to be prepared to, face it with equal force. So, we go training. I know my youngest daughter, not my newborn, but, before, my youngest daughter, my middle child, very scared after the fact. We went shooting, and, she heard the gunshots, and she broke down and started panicking, and, she kind of tried to run off, and we had to stop the whole thing. But that's like why I had to step in and, talk to her and just tell her, like, hey, toughen up. We're going to get through this. What's out there. luckily we survived, but this is why we survived, and this is what we're going to continue to do. It's like, get over your fear, and we're going to train. Because the bad guy, the bad person, the evil is not going to think twice before they, try to harm you. So we got to be prepared no matter what. So just, little things. We're getting through it, and just hopefully, we'll never get over it, but time will help heal. And I guess that's it.
I'm curious, Raul, in hindsight, you mentioned that this gentleman, if you want to call him that, approached your gathering, your friends, the party. Was there in hindsight, anything that you saw that was off or that anybody observed or noticed, or was it really out of nowhere? Was there anything that you could have seen or that you looked the other way on? No?
No. I mean, no. There was about 20, 30 of us, and I would have hoped one of us would have seen something off, but no. I mean, nothing. I mean, till this day, I'm not losing sleep over it, but we still don't know what the motive was. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I don't care. But I do get they do ask a lot. A lot of people ask me, like, why did he do it? What is the motive? Motive is unknown. To this day, the detective, police reports, it still just says motive unknown.
So, do you carry every day?
Oh, definitely.
So let me ask a question, since with the temperature going around the country right now, if somebody does what you do, they arrest you first before they even dig into it. What was the response of law enforcement in the city you lived in?
I live in Arizona. We're a constitutional carry. The response was great. No complaints. Of course, any law enforcement going into a situation like this, mind-blowing. Yeah. I mean, my city is not where there's shootings all the time and, anything like that. Calm, retired, where retired people go to, we call them snowbirds. So right next to my city, it's Sun City. Oh, okay. It's a retiring community. We get a lot of snowbirds. They leave in the summers because it gets too hot, but then they come back in the winter because the temperature's perfect. So I'm right next door, so calm. So, I mean, I think, the response was great.
Nice work, Raul.
Absolutely. God's definitely on your side, let me tell you.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.